Hey, welcome to our very first episode. We are here to talk about Ascendance Season 5. We are the Ascendance Aftershow. My name is Sam, and I have Josh here with me.
Hello. Very excited.
Yeah, very excited to be here. I don't know what I'm doing, but I want to talk about the season. There's just so much more to say. So the cast we have gotten together to watch an episode. So far, we're 4 episodes in, but the one that we all did watch together, it just led to so many fun conversations, like during like our watch party, that we're like, okay, we need to capture some of these thoughts. So here we are.
Yes, it was super fun, and I had such a great time on the show, on the season, and I know we all had a blast getting to know each other and having these conversations, and just being together brought everything all back and just reignited like my love for this game, which is why I played in the first place. And so to be able to talk about it more in depth as much as we can, let's create as much content as we can so we can make our 15 minutes of fame last as long as we can.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Maybe we'll get 16.
Maybe.
That was the dumbest joke ever. Anyways.
I liked it.
So yeah, well, basically, we're going to be bringing on guests, our other castmates, like as the season goes on. And with us here today, just to talk about episodes 1 and 2, we have Tim. So I'm going to bring Tim in, and there we go.
Hey guys.
Hi, Tim.
Hey.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm not sure I got 15 minutes of fame, but we'll go 5.
Well, we'll get you that extra minute like Sam wants. So it's been a while since we've all seen each other. Is there anything that you've been up to? How have you been since we left Tennessee all those months ago?
Oh wow, that was in March. I'm a teacher by trade. So over the summer, I had a summer break, and then I went to Spain, and I ran with the Bulls in Pamplona. My bucket list item. So I ran with the Bulls, and now I'm back in school coaching soccer. So
wow, that sounds like a super great experience.
It was crazy.
I've never known anybody to actually do that in real life. I just thought that was a thing that people like talked about doing, but I was like, I didn't know that people actually did that.
I've talked about it my whole life. So I turned 40, so I was like, well, now or never. So
yeah. That's amazing.
You win? I don't know how it works. Do you just like survive? Okay.
You survive. You don't get hit.
Well, you survive. That's the prize. You got out with your life.
But it was actually kind of cool because there's a Coliseum at the bottom of the Bulls, and you run into the Coliseum, and there's like 20,000 people cheering you on. So it was like maybe like the movie Gladiator moment without the fighting. So it's kind of cool though. So I won at that. Ascendance not so much, but with that.
Well, speaking of Coliseums, I mean, there is a Coliseum in the Ascendance house.
I mean, it definitely felt like a gladiator fight, that's for sure. Everyone was super competitive. What was like something that you we want to talk all things pre-game, post-game, whatever we can. Like, so what was your like goals or mindset or hopes and dreams like heading into the season? Was there anything you remember from like traveling to Tennessee? Like, give us some pre-game remembrance.
Pre-game, I was super nervous because I did Ascendance Unplugged in October, and I came in 5th overall, which was really good out of like 17 people. So I was really nervous that everybody watched it. Thinking back now that I'm thinking about other cast members, I'm like, maybe nobody even saw it. So I kind of overplayed that. But going into it, I was real nervous. And then I got put in a room for like 7 hours and even more nervous. So by myself, just me and a washing machine.
Where did they keep you in the house?
This is very ironic, but I was actually in a vote out villa in a laundry room, and people kept coming in to do their laundry and not talking to me. They would just come in, get their towels, and leave. and then I could hear like one person out there talking to somebody. So I was like super nervous, and then I just kept pacing back and forth, probably about good 5 hours.
Now, when did you like? I flew down on the Friday, so the day that the game started. When did you come down the same day, or were you
Yeah,
there the day
I
before?
I actually drove down.
Okay.
So I got there like early afternoonish.
Okay, yeah, I remember I think it was like, oh, now I don't even remember. It must have been like 3 in the afternoon or something like that. I'm sure I can find back. And they stuck
Yeah.
me upstairs in the vote out villa in that little like section between the 2 bedrooms upstairs in that little loft area. And I literally just sat in the corner and like had some pillows and just was like out in the middle of the open, like, don't talk to anybody, don't see anybody. And it was like 4 or 5 hours, I think I was there, which is insane to think about, just sitting there waiting.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been that nervous before. It's odd, but I was weirdly nervous.
Oh, I was very, very nervous. But I think what helped for me, I got there the day before on purpose because I knew like I wanted to be able to get there and just like take a breath. So I ended up like packing and unpacking my suitcase like 5 times. I was just like that was where my nervous energy went into, was just like, okay, I'm going to just keep myself busy and occupied. And I was just kind of doing all that. And I was also actually in the vote out villa, but I was in like the bedroom that
Uh-huh.
was like on the main floor connected to like the kitchen. You can kind of go through. But because I got there so early, I had it to myself. And so I caught up on some TV shows. I paced. I was just, but because I was there for so long, it kind of just started to feel like my little den, my little
Nice.
home. And then all you can do is just think about what's to come.
Yeah.
So did you have like what was your game plan like heading in? Like you obviously don't know who else is going to be there. Like what was your ideal like strategy? Like were you, I really want to go hard in the challenges, or I want to be like the social butterfly? What was your goal and ideal like strategy heading into the season?
My goal was to make like 1 or 2 moves the first night, and then get through the early rounds, stay under the radar, and then start making moves towards the end of what I would consider the jury phase. But like right before that, like start making maybe round 4 or 5, start putting my neck out there a little bit. So I was really just trying to stay under the radar a little bit, maybe too much, but yeah.
I mean,
And I believe this was like in your exit interview with it's either the vote out villa or with Duke. But you had mentioned so coming in and not playing too hard, but doing enough to kind of make sure that the game's not just moving ahead full
Yeah.
steam ahead without you, but not putting yourself out in front, and that the alliance, or not that there was necessarily like a named alliance, but the agreement that you had made with Debbie and Lance at the Menage a Trois reward, hearing your thought process on that should be enough to at the very least carry me through. And like you made really sound plans, like you discussed if there's a blind vote, like we should vote for one of us, and if one of us like get it, like so outside looking in, it's like, okay, cool, like you should be set, like
Yeah.
it felt like you did what you had to do. But what do you think, where do you think it went sideways, like between that and then we see eventually like Debbie doesn't pick you or Lance for the
Yeah.
team and all of that, like what happened?
I have no idea why she didn't pick either of us. Because I don't know, maybe I'm naive in this point, and this is something I'm working through with LRGs. Is I like to put my faith in people a lot more than they put their faith in me, I think. So in the future, I want to take the reins. Well, take the bulls by the reins, and like just do it myself. Like I was too trusting. Like, oh, they got my back, or yeah, we're number ones. They'll take me at least through the first couple rounds. So I think I just tend to rely on other people more.
For sure. Yeah, that was something that was hard for me to watch back, was like knowing the conversations I had with people, because obviously I was there having those conversations, and then seeing those same people who I was like, yes, I'm all in with this person. I'm so on board. And then the conversations they were having with other people and the like alliances or groups or things that I didn't know about, even up until it showed it in the episode. So like I definitely get where you're coming from. Like, it's hard not to do that, like what you said, but you kind of have to, because you only know the conversations that you have, and so you kind of have to blindly trust these people
Yeah,
in
it
order
was.
to.
Oh, sorry.
No, well, I was just saying, like, in order to like even start the game, like, it's so hard.
It was kind of funny because even after the game, Debbie was like, "Oh, I didn't know you thought of me as your number one," and I'm like, "I thought we established that, but apparently, we misconnected somehow." So
Yeah, fun fact, I didn't know that Josh played the online org of Ascendance until like way after the fact. And it's not that I'm sure like it came up, or like I don't know, maybe Josh, you could speak on that. With like if that's something that you were trying to keep on the DL or what, but it was just like, holy, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it wasn't something like I was specifically trying to keep secret, but I also was like, I felt like I did really well in my org season. And so like I was trying to tell people like, oh yeah, I played orgs, but like never really a lot. And like at that point it had been like over a year, I think, since my season of Ascendance Online had happened. And it was the last org I had played. So I kind of was disconnected. But for me, I'm more about like, I don't want people to know me going in. I want people to like just meet me for who I am, and the fewer people who have played with me or know me in the past, the better, because then I can start fresh. So I was so nervous walking in there, and like I was expecting to see Ascendance 11 alumni who I played that season with,
Yeah.
because I'm like, oh no, they're gonna know how I play, and then I'm gonna, it's gonna be a whole thing. But thankfully, there wasn't a lot of people who I recognized walking into the room, so that definitely made me feel more comfortable. And I tried to not talk too much about my org experience, because I don't want people to like use that against me, for sure.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Same for me. I completely agree and co-sign all of that. Like if I could play with all strangers, I will take that any day, because I don't know, you could just get away with so much more.
I don't know. I feel different about that. Like I feel
Yeah.
like I wanted at least one person in there that I knew, because I didn't know anybody. And I don't know if you remember the first night, Sam, but the very first time I asked you your name, I said your name was Amy. And so I said Amy. I was like, no, wait,
Very
no.
vaguely.
I was like, wait, no. So I messed up your name like within the first 5 seconds. But that was very embarrassing. But I was like, oh man, this is how it starts. But I actually knew Oakley previously, and he was the only one. But I voted him out in the LRG we played, so I figured he was not going to work with me. But I was really nervous.
How did it end up going, like between you and Oakley? Like, were you able to have like a conversation to be like to work it out, or
No, I think he was completely open to working with me. But I know he knew Gluck previously, so I figured I was going to catch his vote regardless. And I was okay with that. I knew he was probably. I mean, I would vote me off. But other than that, I've been like watching the LRG community for a little bit before I started playing. So all the like major people in the cast, I knew who they were. And so I think that intimidated me a little bit more. Like, no offense to you guys, but I knew who you were coming in. And then the first night, I saw you, Duke, you two and Duke talking. I was like, oh, okay, here we go.
That's so interesting.
That was my first moment of this game starting. Was like when I saw you three talking. I was like, maybe I should not go to the bathroom 80 times.
Or maybe you should, and then you could like eavesdrop.
Yeah. I wanted to walk over there, but I was like, nah, I can't do it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. That's another thing too, that like it doesn't act it like there's so much downtime in between. Well, no, let me rephrase that. There isn't a ton of downtime in between like rounds, but once we've wrapped up for the day and, it's just the evening, like we don't necessarily have cameras on us, but that doesn't mean there isn't like game talk and stuff like that going on. So like that's like a really interesting insight that you can't remember everything that goes on while you're there. Like there's no way.
Yeah.
So to be able to share like, oh, these are the people that like I connected with, like, night zero or whatever. It's just really cool. So I guess all that to say, is there any like other things that like you either noticed or conversations that you had, in the evening time that like stuck with you, or like any like little tidbits like that you wanted to share?
Really, I enjoyed playing the games, like I really did. But I like wanted other people to feel good about beating me in several games. So I actually threw a lot of the games. And I'm sorry, Mike, if you're watching this, but we had a trivia game against Gluck and Dave, and I completely said the wrong answer on purpose. Like I wanted Gluck and Dave to win because I didn't want them to like overanalyze. Well, he's going hard the first night. It was a stupid bowling question, like 3 strikes in a row makes a turkey, and I'm like, I know this, but I'm just gonna let them have it. So that was fun. Other than that, I really tried to look for powers the first night. Um, because in Ascendance Unplugged, I found I half pinned it the first night, but like I was like striking out on like I couldn't find anything, and I got to a point where I'm like, I don't think they hit anything. So I spent much of the first night looking for things much more than actually talking to people, and I don't think that really helped my game.
Yeah, it's fair because you want to balance those things of like you want to play the games to win the money, so maybe you could buy something, but then you also want people to like you. So if they beat me, that's something that we can like talk about. Haha, you did so great, I did so bad.
Yeah.
Like let's talk about it, or like making those connections. And then looking for powers is definitely like a hard balance to like make sure you're not like doing it too much so people get suspicious of you, but also making sure that you're in the conversations, in where everybody is at. I found for me, like I was ready to settle into bed, get ready for the night, like let's have these chill conversations, and then they drop those puzzle boxes in the middle, and I'm like, oh, now everybody's back into game mode again. Did you feel like that hurt your like strategy social time as well the first night?
Yeah, I think so. Because it did, like when Oakley just took the pendant, I was like, literally, I was like 3 minutes talking to myself. All right, I don't have a vote. Why don't I just go grab it? And then, like, I don't know if you could really see it, but I start moving, and the moment I move, Oakley grabs it and says his little spiel. I'm like, oh well, okay. Let's just go to bed then. And then we go into the Coliseum, and like all the people in the Coliseum are talking about Oakley and grabbing the pendant. So then I was like, well, I'm not going to bed until everybody else does. So yeah, I
That's
really,
so interesting. So like there's an alternate timeline out there somewhere
yeah, I
where
would,
you're the one, you get it, you make it through like round one, and
yeah, being the first boot, it sucks, right? It really does. Like I've never had that experience before. And so you get like 6 hours of just thinking to yourself every game move that you did wrong. And you're up in the vote out villa and you can't move. Like I stayed upstairs. They were like, you cannot come downstairs. I said, okay. So like every little move you overanalyze. And I was like, for a good 3 hours, I was like, why didn't you just grab it? Just stop being scared and just grab it, right? So yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people had that thought too. Cause like I had a whole plan in my brain. I was like, okay, they've opened the safe. They're going to put it back. They're going to leave the door open. Everybody's going to go to bed. I'm going to get up in the middle of the night, sneak into the living room and grab that thing out of the box. But I'm also like, everybody else was also probably thinking the exact same thing. So if Oakley doesn't take it, you never know what's going to happen there.
That would have been so much fun if he didn't take it and he just left the safe open.
Well, oh no, that would have driven me crazy. I honestly, when Oakley took it, I was like, thank you. I'm going to sleep tonight. Perfect. Because like, I don't know. I don't need to have it. I just need to know where it is. And it was just like, okay, good, done. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. But just to touch on what you're saying about, just thinking over everything, things that you could have done differently or stuff like that. I always say in like social strategy games or like these type of competitions, there's so much left up to chance and so much that is like outside of your control that, just like that one little thing where, had you decided maybe 10 seconds earlier to be the one to step forward, like, and so it's so hard to remove yourself from that. And like, at least just speaking for myself, like beating yourself up over these things because you think, well, it was kind of within my control. I could have done that. But there's so many little moments like that happen that it's, I don't know. What I'm trying to say is like, yes, it's from your own actions in a way that like these things happen, but there's still so much out of your control that the tiniest little things. And so I don't know. I think it could literally happen to anyone. It's wild. This game is crazy.
Yeah. It's insane.
I was trying to see like, and even the fact of like, I mean, I guess we'll move on to the team challenge there. Like you didn't get picked. You're with this team. I believe you were the second.
We were the second team.
So like talking about what Sam was saying about chances, like normally in that situation, I was thinking that it was going to be 2 and 2, right? And that two teams will, and so if the production team decided to do it how we sort of were expecting, then you would have been safe. And so it's like, obviously like being first boot is probably something that's super sucky. And I'm sure we'll all experience that at some point in our LRG careers. But like, you also shouldn't be too hard on yourself because like any little flip of the coin differently, like they save 2 teams or you grab that pennant. It's like, so it's so crazy of like, it could have been any of us. It really, honestly, truly could have been any of us, depending on how that cookie crumbled there. Do you like, is that something that you think about and are like, not, I don't want to say mad at production about, but are you kind of like, man, they should have just made 2 teams safe?
No, that's funny because I had the same thought during the when they were announcing the results, and they were like, I think it was Duke's team that came in third, and as soon as they said that time, I was like, yes. And then they're like, in the winner, and then German's team won, and I was like, oh, well, dang it. And the red team actually also said we weren't going to vote for each other, so I was feeling okay with that. But yeah.
But that did not turn out to be
the
case.
No, definitely not.
Okay. What was I else? Oh yeah, it was the team bonding one. Who were it was oh yes, it was German and Gluck who had the disadvantage. But you didn't end up having anybody on your team with the disadvantage. I was wondering if that like had played into it too.
No. We did pretty well. I mean, we dropped it like twice on the maze, but I wasn't confident we would win, but I was confident that we would probably come in second. We did it really quick.
Did you guys was it easy to choose for your team, like who the caller was going to be? Well, I guess you didn't know that that's what they were going to do. They said to pick a team leader or something like that.
To be honest, no. We kind of decided on Lance because it was me, Oakley, AJ, and Lance. And Lance just seemed like the louder, outspoken person. And he was a natural leader, I felt like, for any competition. So we just kind of went with it.
Yeah, that was my experience too. Because I remember we were the first to go, and so we went downstairs to the little living, the living room downstairs where the TV was, and we were sitting there, and I forget who it was. It was Matty Icer or somebody, and they're like, "Okay, you need to pick a team leader." And Sky, German, and Charlie, literally all at the same time. We're on the L couch. and I'm at one end and the other three are sort of like next to me, and all at once they all just go huh, towards me, and I'm like,
Whoa.
you guys want me to do it? And they're like, would you? And I was like, I don't want to, don't vote me out. And they're like, no, we won't do that. But it was just like, I remember sitting there thinking like, okay, I don't want to do this. It's the first challenge. I don't want to be the leader. And then all three of them like simultaneously just stared at me and were like, Josh, we want you to do it. And I was like, okay, guys, like, please don't vote me out if we lose. So at least for me, it was like a more stressful experience of like, now I have to be the leader. But then when I heard what the challenge was, I was like, oh, I've got this. I was a camp counselor. I played curling. Like my yelling voice, I took those skills and I was like, I'm just going to yell at these people.
Amazing. I just like rewatched the episode. And so, all the yelling is like fresh in my mind. And like, I think all of the callers who like, each team I think chose really well in terms of the callers, because like the communication was there. I would have led my team astray.
I would not have been good at that.
Yeah. When it came to like the strategy portion of the of this vote, early on, I like from what I saw anyways, Gluck, I believe, is the one of the first ones to say, what about Tim? From your perspective, at what point in like the strategy portion do you hear that your name is out there, and like who do you hear it from?
I heard it so late in the game. Like, I don't know, maybe maybe I was tired, maybe I just didn't pick up on cues, but I heard it so late in the game. Like, people were saying, "Oh, so and so, the two teams that are on a team together, my team and somebody else's, to vote somebody out." So, okay, cool. Or then I heard Gluck's name a lot, and I was like, "That's fine. I am not going to speak up if I don't hear my name." And it was really like the last quarter of the time. And then we go in a room and I'm like, whose name are you hearing? And Dave, such a kind soul he is, he goes, I'm hearing your name and Gluck's name. And so that was when like I was blindsided. I was like, oh crap, my name's out there? I had no clue. So this could have been a huge blindside if he never spoke up. And so that's when I went into panic mode. But by that time, it's so late in the game.
Yeah, and when you only have you guys had like 20 minutes, like not even. I don't even remember what they gave us, but like it's so hard, especially if it happens like right before the time runs out. It's like, what are you gonna do, But I think you fought well. Like looking back, I'm sure was there any conversations or any like pitching that you did that they didn't show in the episode?
Yeah, I mean, towards the end, I just pitched to everybody. Look, I'm 100% loyal. I even played the kid card once or twice. Like I didn't leave my kids to come out to get first boots. I tried to heartstrings a little bit. But for the most part, I felt like, and Sam, you said this at the end of the episode, that we were just playing it too safe anyways. Like I never wanted to vote for Gluck. I couldn't vote anyways, but I didn't want Gluck to go because I felt like he was going to be the next one to go. But I just didn't want to stick my neck out there too much. Looking back, I should have circled back with Debbie and Lance, but I felt like they were going to vote with me anyways.
Mm-hmm. Now, that totally makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, if you did have a vote, do you know who you would have like voted for at the time, or do you not really recall? Did you not even think about it?
No, definitely. I mean, I would have to place it on Gluck and hope that the numbers are there. If in a perfect world, if I had the game running like I wanted it to, I would have liked a big player to go first. And almost, I don't want to throw any names out, but maybe like a Duke or Bergen was safe. So like a Duke type style, because I knew he was a big fish and it would have opened up the game a little bit more. But no, I would have had to vote for Gluck, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was so hard just like watching and trying to be involved in the conversations, even though like I was safe and didn't have a vote. Like I was still trying to be in, and I'm like, I don't know if I would have known what I was going to do, because the choice is especially the first vote, it feels so impossible to make that decision because I'm like, I wouldn't want my experience cut short, so I don't want to vote for somebody else's experience to be cut short.
And props to everybody else, but you guys, and I'm not saying you guys with everybody, but man, these are some fantastic liars in there. Like some stone-faced liars. Like Mia at one point, she says, I know what I'm doing. I said, are we on the same page? Yes. Okay. Nope, definitely not on the same page. So, yeah.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
cases out there.
Mm-hmm. It definitely is. That's the hard part of the game, especially so early. It's like you want to believe people at their word, at their face value, and then it's like you looking back, you see people who say one thing to your face and then run around, behind the closed doors and say something completely different. I know I definitely got caught in a couple of those early moments. Like I remember that conversation Sky and I had about sort of who we really trusted, and I felt bad for Debbie and Maddie seeing that clip. But like night one, we were standing outside of one of the rooms and we were like, made this alliance, and then I remember them coming back to me and I was like, I didn't think it was real. But they, I think, thought it was a little more real than I did. And so I saw myself saying that to Sky and I was like, oh God, I hope that they're not like mad at me because I like lied to their faces about this alliance.
Oh yeah, the purple posse.
Yeah. Which should have been a thing, but
it should have been.
Yeah. Had a nice ring to it.
Yeah. But was there anything like that? Like, was there anything with your experience, Tim, like that? Did you have any alliances with people, or like was it just purely like one-on-one, like I trust you, like
it was mainly one-on-ones. I trust you, besides the menage a trois with Lance and Debbie. But I really wanted people to like me and then trust me first before making any like solid alliances. Like Charlie, the first morning, he woke up super early. So I just chatted with him the whole time. Bergen as well. And so I thought Bergen might have picked me for his team, because I wanted to like just be somebody that they thought they could trust and bring forward in the game.
Mm-hmm. No, it's tricky. It is so hard. It's I spent a lot of the time like just like overwhelmed and overstimulated, and so there's also things that probably happened like to me, around me, all of that like didn't even register. So I'm thinking of like, yeah, Bergen or even Debbie, like they, like in the beginning, early on, like were probably some of the most social people. So I imagine like those interactions that they were having with everybody, it could have been taken in a way that like, okay, good, I have you, you're on my side, we're going to work together. But they were like that with everybody, but only like serious about it with like, a select few. And so it's really difficult to parse that when, you don't know these people. So you don't have a frame of reference for like, okay, is this legit? Can I trust it or not? So yeah, just some good poker faces. Like you said, like some real good. This is a really good cast.
This is really good.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah. So I guess just to kind of start to wrap this up, I want to know from you, Tim, what have you learned about yourself like through this experience? Like what do you take away from Ascendance Live or Ascendance Season 5, Drop the Live?
What did I learn about myself? I learned a lot about myself. Some things I like, some things I didn't like. I did not like watching me in the actual show because I felt like I was the person that I would be yelling at from my couch. Like, why did you do that? Why did you talk about this? Why did you make that mistake? So I found out that I'm a lot more oversharing than I thought I was. Like, I don't know, maybe I was tired or what, but in the menage a trois, I like spilled everything. Like, dude, he has a podcast. We should vote him out first. Lance, I know you from the caucus challenge, stuff like that. Like, why did I even mention that? I even told him I did well in the last game. I'm like, that's a rookie mistake right there. So I find like I overshare, I think it might be my anxiety or something nervous in me that wants to build a connection so fast and have people trust me. Something I liked about myself, I felt like I was genuine enough to everybody in the cast. I felt like I mean, obviously, I didn't have much time to do it, but I felt like my word was gold. And going future, maybe I should tend to play the line a little bit more, like not be such an easy pick to be safe pick. I want to play more LRGs, and I want to be more of a social threat than I was in this game.
Those sound
Okay.
like great things for sure. I remember watching the votes come down and watching you like I think that you were so classy and so like just like graceful and like not graceful. I don't know what word I was looking for, but like you just handled it so well. And I was like sitting there like I don't think I would have been able to handle it like as well as you did. And I think you just sort of set the bar for like the rest of us of like, you know what, if he can bow out so gracefully and be such a class act, like I think it set the tone for the rest of the game. And I think like you should be proud of yourself for sure, and that sound like great things to learn about yourself. And I know that, you know, we all wish things could have gone differently, and I think I can speak for, you know, only myself, but if we were to go back and do it again, I think you could have gone way farther. You know what I mean? Like I don't think it reflects on who you are as a person or a player at all.
No. I was like I wasn't angry in the moment, but as the votes were being read, I knew the writing was on the wall. So I told myself, look, somebody has to be the first one to go. These people are great people. Let's just bow out gracefully and let's just go. You know, I don't know if there's a battle back or anything like that in the games. I don't want to make enemies, and I want to leave. Like I'm over this, but at the same time, it was nothing maliciously about the game.
That's a good way to say that for sure. I definitely felt like this cast was so much fun to meet and get to know, and I still love spending as much time with as many of you as I can because
Yeah.
everybody who was there made it such a cool experience.
Yeah, somebody in season 4 that played season 4 had mentioned how their best time was the vote out villa. So I kept telling myself, all right, the vote out villa, when more people come, it'll be fun and you can actually enjoy your vacation. And they were 100% right. Like my best moments came in the vote out villa when I got to meet people even more one on one. So,
Yeah. All right, Tim. Well, do you have anything that you want to plug? Is there anywhere that people can follow you or see what you're up to?
Well, I have not been revealed yet for an LRG, but in
Ooh.
October I will be playing another one. Most people probably already know it, but I have not been revealed yet. So, but I will be playing one more LRG this year. I've applied for a couple more next year. Hopefully, I'll make it on there. I want to do at least one more Survivor LRG, and then one more maybe Big Brother-ish LRG. But root for me in October. I can't tell you what it is until I'm revealed, but you'll see me again. Hopefully not first boot, but you'll see me again.
That's exciting. I will definitely be rooting for you. Yeah, send that to me whenever you are revealed so that I know where to go and find you and watch.
Yes, I will be watching and cheering for you.
Thank you.
I will always support my Ascendance family. So,
Thank you.
well, yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, and hopefully you got to, you know, feel like you shared your piece and got to sort of have some more catharsis and talk that through. So we really appreciate you taking some time out to talk to us.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm totally at peace with my Ascendance time. Maybe in the future, if they have Ascendance 6 and 7 and returnees, I can maybe go and play again and get a little further. But I love my time meeting you guys and everybody in Ascendance. I will never say a bad word about Ascendance and the family that it creates. I love all you guys, and I had such a blast.
All right. Yeah, I totally agree with all of that. I love you all so much. It's like the experience that just keeps on giving. And so we're gonna be back again with an episode, an after show episode for episode 3. So be on the lookout for that. And we're gonna try to make this a little bit more of a weekly thing once we're caught up. I mean, when we at the time of recording this, episode 4 has aired, so we're just doing our little catch up here right now, and catch us weekly after that. And big thank you to Duke for hosting us on the Lost at Sea podcast channel. It's really exciting to have a little home here in Duke's little corner of YouTube. And if you haven't already, go like and comment on the Ascendance YouTube page, on their videos. You know, we talk about, oh, if there's a season 6 or season 7, and there's no guarantees there. Like, production puts so much time and work and effort, and so they pour so much of themselves into this, and with the whole team. And this is all volunteers. It's just all us with a passion for these games here doing the thing. And so, the future is uncertain if, we're going to see a season 6. And so the more eyes, the more people watching, the more people talking about it, the more people engaging with the content, that just helps us all so much. And so every like, follow, comment, all of it is so appreciated. So yeah, thank you in advance, and hope everybody has a good one.